Heyo, welcome into CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm the host of the CHGO White Sox podcast, Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's the CHGO White Sox community leader. We are here to recap the 42nd loss of the 2022 Chicago White Sox season. They lost in 9 innings to Bo Brisky and the boys up from Detroit. The Tigers defeat the White Sox 2-1. Herb, this is the second victory of the Tigers over the White Sox. The White Sox are now 5-2 against the Motor City Kitties, and we knew this team was hot coming in, the Detroit Tigers, but they didn't win this game. The White Sox just didn't grasp this. The White Sox just didn't give that, winning effort tonight, I guess.
No, and Bo Borowski was average out there today. Bo Bridges,
yeah, that's it.
Was average today. He was just not great. The White Sox bats didn't show up. The approach at the plate was wrong. Just execution was terrible. He was no-hitting the White Sox through 6 innings, wasn't he? Or through the 6th inning, into the 6th inning. And finally, when they get a hit, our manager,
our guy,
Tony, you know what? Fuck all that. I just saw you, Reese McGuire. Good job last time versus Bo Brisky. 9-pitch at bat, you battled him. You know what I'm going to do? Just after that guy got the first hit off of Bo Brisky, who the pitcher usually, after giving up a first hit, is rattled a little bit, has to recompose himself. He's a young pitcher. I'm going to give him a free out. Sacrifice bunt.
Right.
Reese McGuire for having Josh Harrison go to second. And our guy, Tom Fornelli, who was at Tweet Sox, said the White Sox, after the Harrison hit, had a 45% chance of winning. After the bunt by Reese McGuire, it dropped to 42%. Giving up outs is always dumb. Always dumb. But dumbass Tony La Russa, I'm sorry for calling him names. I shouldn't call him names. Tony La Russa fucked up there. Now, the hitters didn't hit. I'm not putting this all on Tony. But right there is a prime example of Tony costing the team when he's using his old school mentality of bunting, sacrifice bunting. And then later in the game, I know I'm jumping all over, but I'm pissed. He pinch hits Reese McGuire. Right move to do that. Well, lefty versus lefty.
You're skipping something else I'm pissed about too. Keep going. But
okay. Lefty versus lefty.
More for Tony.
He pinch hits him for a switch hitter, Lurie Garcia, who hits right-handed. But I don't know if Tony knows this. Sebastian Zavala, Sebi is his name. He's hitting the ball hard off the cover as of late. And he had to come in the game if the White Sox were to tie that game in the 9th inning anyway. There's multiple reasons why he messed up, and because Lurie's not good. Secondly, because Sevy's really good, and he's hitting really hard. So Tony cost you at least twice tonight where he fucked up moves that regular managers don't. I'm a regular 43-year-old dude that never played one game of high school baseball past freshman A or freshman B team. And I knew that move. You guys out there who are watching and listening knew that move was wrong. Why does not our Hall of Fame manager know that move?
Well, and here's the Hall of Fame manager again, and this is the thing I was pissed off about in the top of the 9th inning, throwing out Tanner Banks in a 1-0 game. He did this again in San Francisco. It was a 0-0 game in the bottom of the 8th, and Tanner Banks gets thrown out. Jimmy Lambert and Tanner Banks are your guys in a very close 1-run ball game that come in out of the bullpen. We saw and I was going to say Joe Ryan, that's the guy from Minnesota, Joe Kelly. Now, we saw him warming up in the bullpen at the same time as Tanner Banks. So he was available. He was ready. Tony didn't use him. And Tanner Banks in that inning, I believe he walked a guy and then let in that guy with a hit. So There you go. And you're not using your best guys, and you're not giving your team the chance to even tie the game up. They tied the game up in the ninth inning if Tanner Banks doesn't give up that run in the ninth inning. You're not going to your best players, and it's just frustrating. I don't understand because they are losing. Tony needs to go to the losing bullpen. It doesn't matter if it's by 1 run, 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs. They are losing, so in comes Jimmy Lambert, in comes Tanner Banks. Give your guys more of a shot. Come on.
And in that, Tanner Banks faced the requisite 3 hitters he needed to face before the Torkelson at bat. So you can still go to Joe Kelly, fix the mistake you made. Or you could say, all right, I don't like the lefty-righty matchup. Yes, Tucker Barnhart is a switch hitter, but he gave up switch hitting a couple of years ago. He's just hitting righty for the first time in a while. So let's go and get Tucker Barnhart instead of Spencer Torkelson. Any of those moves I would have been better with than him pitching to Spencer Torkelson right there in that spot. Now, Spencer is hitting up below 200, but he's still a young, highly touted prospect who can hit a fastball over the plate from a lefty, and he crushed it. So, yeah, Tony's been messing up, but the hitting, we're going to get to those people. We're going to definitely get to the people who did not get the job done versus Bo Borowski, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Bill
Bixby.
Bill Bixby.
And I misspoke there. Tanner Banks gave up 2 hits. He did not allow a walk, but he allowed 2 hits, and the runner ended up scoring. Just frustrating altogether. And you could look at the hitting side. You could look at the bullpen side. You could look. I don't really think there was a defensive error today. So, I mean, really, you could just look at the hitting again, and the starting pitching was fantastic. Dylan Cease is the big positive out of this one. But before we go into it, is there anything else that sticks out negatively before we go into some of the positives?
You get the second hit of the game by the White Sox, Jose Abreu. Good hit. Awesome hit. Then immediately Jose Abreu makes a base running mistake.
Oh, right.
How many times are we going to be caught on the bases? A lot of these toot lands out here for the White Sox, it's getting frustrating. It's happening from our best players. Timmy's done it multiple times. Jose just did it right here. You've seen Yohan. You've seen Adam Engel do it the other day. What's going on? What's really going on? It's very frustrating. This team keeps on doing the same shit to beat themselves. As Sean said, Tigers didn't win this game. The White Sox lost this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, John S. says TLR sucks, but so do the players on the team. I don't know if the players suck, but they are definitely underperforming. And hey, at this point, you keep underperforming, you're going to suck. You're not going to make the playoffs, and that's exactly what this team has told you their goal is. This is the second year in a row that this team has made the playoffs as a franchise. First time in franchise history they made to back-to-back playoffs, and then they're going to follow it up by clearly being the favorites in the AL Central, and right now they're in 3rd place, 6 games back, and 3 games below 500. This was supposed to be an important 15-game stretch in 14 days versus the AL Central, and the White Sox are currently 1-3. They are going to have a miraculous end of this stretch to even finish above 500, and I have no faith in them to do it.
And another thing about somebody was talking about Tony's relationship with Lurie, and it was a tweet, and I don't know who said it. It was a great one. If you guys are right there in the chat and know the person who said it, it's perfect. Tony thinks Lurie is like the guy in Minnesota, Arise.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, Tony thinks Lurie is Luis Arise. Like, he uses him as such. Like, he started a bunch of playoff games last year because he loves Lurie Garcia. He started a bunch of games this week, this month, even though Josh Harrison was hitting the ball off the cover and playing spectacular defense. He's like, get your ass on the bench. It's Lurie time. So, yeah. And I saw a person say, you can't blame Tony when they scored under 3 runs. Yeah, you can, because he's actively costing you runs by bunting.
Yeah, I mean, he took...
in the 6th inning.
He took the ability to score runs away from the White Sox in the 6th inning, and then you could even say in the 9th inning exactly, using Leary over Sebi. I don't know how Andrew Vaughn was feeling too, but we knew he was an option on the bench. I don't know if he was completely out for the day. He said he was dealing with a sickness, but still, not even good enough for an at-bat. Was
he down with the sickness?
He was down with the sickness.
Yeah.
Do you big disturbed guy?
I think it's Chicago Ben, right?
I think they might even be from Evergreen Park.
Yeah.
I think they're real local, but you know, we got so many great bands like REO Speedwagon and
I heard my guy
Cheap Trick
Chirizi talking about Local H being the best Chicago band, and I said that's a Zion band. And
he got upset. I was listening to
I listened to him last night too. Yeah, he was mad. I was like, Zion's almost in Wisconsin, dude. But
he had a fair point. Scott has lived here for like years in Chicago.
Fine. But yeah, I would vote for Disturbed in their one song that hit over Local H, even though their hits are great.
Bound to the Floor.
Oh,
That one's good.
just so
It's
great.
the only one I know. I wasn't from the 90s, so I can't go too deep on Local H with you. I can't go deep on Dylan Cease pitching today. It was fantastic. He was excellent, shockingly, versus the Tigers like he's been throughout his entire career. I think the first big thing we got to get to, though, we talked a little bit about this. Ethan Katz and Dylan Cease visited Fisherman's Wharf out in San Francisco, and then they had the whole video about Dylan Cease talking about how important Ethan Katz is and how he's fixed all of his pitches with him. It was a real cute video, a little bonding between Katz and Dylan Cease.
It was good to see. They were there, I think, Thursday afternoon. I was there on Friday morning, and so I was like, damn, I just missed them. They were just chilling out, having bro time. He was very complimentary of each other. It was good to see the pitching coach and pitcher be that close to go out with each other on their off day to have an enjoyable time in San Francisco. And Dylan Cease with the Matrix-like moves, dodging seagulls left and right. I don't know if people saw that.
I missed that.
Oh, yeah. He's talking about his poem, his slider poem that he wrote. And then, dude, brother, I just went out and struck out 11 dudes right after that, after I wrote that slider poem. Yeah, sick.
All the guys thought it was great. They loved it.
I'm sick.
And let's talk about his slider. I tried writing my own
Ethereal
Dylan Cease slider poem, and it didn't really work out. He was talking about being in the shower, listening to piano music, and it starting his brain up. Clearly, something's been working for the damn kid because he's been real impressive since May 29th. Let's look at Dylan Cease's pitch mix today. 46 sliders today. He used that the most out of any pitches. 46 sliders for Dylan Cease and 101 pitches. So he used the slider 46% of the time. He used his fastball 40% of the time. He used the knuckle curve 10% of the time, and he threw 5 changeups as well. But the big story, again, is the slider. He got 24 swings on that slider, and 11 of them were swings and whiffs. 46% whiff rate on that slider. Absolutely elite. 39% called strike plus whiff percentage on his slider. They call that a money pitch, Herb. When you're getting that many whiffs, when you're locating in the zone like that, when you're not giving up hits off that slider, it's a money pitch. And yes, he did give up the 1 home run to Javi Baez, but hey, when a guy has that much power like Javi Baez and he gets lucky to put the barrel on it, sometimes ball goes far, and it barely scraped over, still stayed in the bullpen down the left field line. So, we saw this with the Oriole game. Dylan Cease gave up a homer to Abreu, and then we see this with Baez, but only 1 earned run for Cease. Another great outing for him.
And Dave Russa brings up a good point. And I was saying in the while we're watching the game with you and Steven, like his slider, and we've been seeing it, especially to left-handers, it pretty much is a 12-6 curveball motion, but with more velocity. It's just, it's a strike initially, and that's what the hitters see. And then they see it fall off the table. And I was telling you, it's like, why do they swing at those balls? They know they're not going to hit hard. And they must think, like you were saying, like they must think that they're going to golf that shit off the ground and go for a home run, almost like Javi did. But that ball was left in the zone. And so Javi kept his hands back and had enough power to get that ball on the barrel and crush it out to the left center field or left field. But most part, slider was untouchable today. And he knew it. It must feel great. Like in that one inning, he struck out 2 guys with high fastballs. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Robbie Grossman who came up and he fouled off a 1-2 fastball. And he was thinking, okay, he struck out the other 2 guys with the high fastball. He just tried to strike me out with a high fastball. Then Dylan's like, knuckle curve. Yeah. Robbie Grossman's like, didn't even swing the bat. He's like, I thought he was throwing a fastball. And it was just right there, right in the middle of the zone. And I was like, what a pitcher. That is pitching. That is understanding what the other hitter is trying to do to you and going the opposite way, working the count, thinking a move ahead of him. He's playing chess while Robbie Grossman's out here playing checkers.
Well, and it's right. Like, how does he become the ultimate chess player is now the question, because he is getting really damn good at this game of chess. Jesus Shuttlesworth says all Cease needs to do is throw more strikes, and he'll be the best pitcher in the AL and maybe baseball. And that kind of shows itself in the Javi Baez at bat. The first pitch was a fouled ball, forcing fastball, kind of near the upper part of the zone. Then the second pitch, we still see trying to aim it a little bit. He's missing by a couple couple inches on the outside edge. He's missing a little high. You know, he isn't perfect just yet. And the second pitch he threw to Baez in that at-bat, he got him out on the first at-bat. Second at-bat, he missed high and in versus high Baez. You know, if he hit his spot right there, it makes absolute sense to then go to a slider, low and away, change the eye level completely, change the direction, go north and in, and then go away and out. And then that's usually the way that Dylan has tried to be working. And then the next pitch, he throws the slider, but it gets too much of the middle of the plate. Stayed down, but was too much in the middle of the plate. And Javi Baez, you know, he was second in MVP voting before. Guys like that will do damage to you. But for the most part, a really great job from Dylan Cease tonight. And someone asked, I think it was Dave Barista, asked what's the difference between his slider and his curveball. It is velocity. Cease usually averages around 86 miles per hour, 86.8 miles per hour on his slider. His knuckle curve about 82.2 miles per hour. So there's about a 4 mile per hour, 5 mile per hour difference between his slider and knuckle curve. But the big thing is just the break and the way it moves. Cease's horizontal break on his slider is around 2 inches. His knuckle curve is around 1 inch, but he gets 57 inches of break on his knuckle curve, 36 inches of break horizontally on his slider. So it's just more horizontal movement on the slider, and it's more vertical drop on the curveball. And he has a very unique curveball. Not a lot of 12-6 curveballs are still in the league. So he has a very unique curveball as well, with the way it just comes over the top to hitters. So he's just a really filthy guy. I mean, this stuff is nasty. When you're able to throw 98, you're able to throw this tight slider to righties or lefties, guys are just absolutely confused. And especially with the way that he's been able to locate, this guy is unstoppable. And he could be the best pitcher in Major League Baseball if he's able to develop a changeup. If he has those 4 pitches, truly watch out, because he won't even need to locate. He won't even need to aim and nail those spots, because guys will just have no clue on what to do. Stoney has talked about the difficulties of power pitchers and them developing changeups, but I don't know. If Dylan's ever able to figure it out, truly watch out. Hitters will be screwed.
And like Jesus said, I think from time to time in the game, he outthinks himself. He's getting scared or seeing something that's not present, where he's throwing balls way outside the box. So he has very little of that this year than he had last year, but you still see glimpses of that where it seems like he's scared of pitching the ball over the plate because he doesn't want to get hit hard. And so you see balls that are in the right-handed or left-handed batter's box, non-competitive pitches. He does that a lot. So I need him to just understand, as I said last time, I'm Dylan Cease. I have the filthiest slider. My fastball plays 98 plus. My curveball, they can't hit if I execute the pitch. And we saw with the curveball and the changeup. What, he threw 5 of them, and they did not touch it today. Yeah. He doesn't throw it a lot because he's not confident in it. Once he's confident, as you said, unstoppable.
Well, and the confidence has been there. That's why he had 8 strikeouts today. And if you're watching CHGO bets, you know that I stayed away from Dylan Cease over 7.5 strikeouts just because it wasn't at plus money. But the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. That's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. And you can take that $50 and put it towards Dylan Cease striking out batters, because it's happening at a very historic rate at this point for Dylan Cease in 2022. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we will help you out. PointsBet's your home for live in-play betting, and it just got even better. If you see an edge in the game you're watching, if your favorite team is primed for a comeback, don't just watch the game. Bet along with it live. There's more live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash-outs with the PointsBet app. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game. Download the PointsBet app right now and use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Again, once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. And our next partner has a product I use literally every day. I know Herb uses it. I started taking AG1s because I started this job. They sent over for some free samples, and my life has changed because of it. I've been on it now for about 3 months, and I look forward to it each and every morning with one delicious scoop of AG1s, I absorb 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help me start my day right. It helps me improve my nervous system if I'm feeling a little bit anxious, my immune system, I haven't been sick in a bit, my energy, I feel really energetic right now at 10:40 p.m., and I feel like that has to do with my Athletic Greens. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, and Athletic Greens has over 7,002 5-star reviews. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. Herb puts it in his smoothies. That's it. No needs for millions of different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO-SOX. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/CHGO-SOX to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. It's time now to go out to the place where the Sox lost 2-1. We go to Guaranteed Rate Field to talk with the CHGO White Sox beat reporter, Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. Howdy, Vinnie.
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
Very good. What's the sweatshirt?
Sweatshirt.
AC/DC?
It's a hot one. It's a t-shirt, short
shirt.
sleeves. We got AC/DC going on here, fellas.
Right.
Yeah.
It looked kind of like a little stitched, so maybe it would have been like a nice little stitched sweatshirt, but yeah, it is very hot. You would have been kind of psycho to wear a sweatshirt today. Who'd you talk to after the game?
Yeah, we heard from Tony La Russa, obviously. We also heard from Dylan Cease, the starting pitcher, and A.J. Pollock. Everybody kind of scratching their heads here, halfway through the season, 81 games in. This is not where this team was supposed to be, not where this team wants to be, not where this team thinks it should be. And yet, here it is, well under 500. It's not good, to put it lightly. But yeah, the unexplainable is kind of how these White Sox are putting it, looking around in that locker room and seeing the talent that they have, the roster that they have, and then looking at the standings and seeing what's going on there. So, it remains befuddling that this offense is unable to string games together in which it shows exactly what it's capable of. Yesterday, obviously, was so much, back to normal, if you will,
right,
with Eloy Jimenez back in the lineup, 9 runs on the scoreboard, and tonight, offense did absolutely zilch until the 9th inning when it did just next to nothing, getting one more run with a couple of hits. But it has not been pretty if you look at the big picture here so far for these White Sox. And asked to kind of put a finger on what's going on after the game, they couldn't really do so.
Did Tony speak about why he went with Lurie instead of Sebi Zavala in that 9th inning versus instead of when he pinch hit for Reese McGuire? I understood the move there because of lefty versus lefty, but did not understand why he went with Lurie instead of Sebi.
Must have just thought it was the way to get the job done there in that moment. That he did not talk about that decision, was not asked about that decision after the post game. Listen, they had the best inning of the night, in that 9th inning there. Whether that turns drastically different based on who he brings off the bench, we will never know. But certainly that inning was not marred because of that decision. It was, the best inning they had all night. But if your night is hinging on a Sebi Zavala pinch hit, your offense obviously did not do the job, and they had 2 hits through the first 8 innings. So it should never be in a position where that is the case for this White Sox team with how good this lineup is supposed to be.
Some quotes over the weekend about Kendall Graveman talking about leadership on this team, and I wonder what A.J. Pollock maybe has to say, or if he said anything about leadership, him being a veteran, being through so many teams, probably seeing some good Arizona teams, some bad Arizona teams, being on the Death Star that is the Dodgers for the past couple years. Has A.J. talked about maybe his role on this team or the leadership in that clubhouse and how he views it?
He is not. He spoke tonight just kind of in general about what this team has been able to do and looked at it as kind of, like I mentioned, an unexplainable situation that they're in right now. To a man, everybody on this team talks about the solution being to keep working. To a man, everybody on this team compliments the daily work that this team does. It is not, Herb, as you say so often, it does not appear to be the process that the White Sox are worried about right now, but the results have been dramatic in the opposite direction of what they want to be doing right now. So you talked to Tim Anderson. We talked to Tim Anderson before the game, said a lot of the same stuff. Keep working. You talked to Josh Harrison a couple of times over the last few days. Keep plugging away, he said. I mean, this is kind of the strategy that the White Sox are going with right now, that obviously applies to individual players and their individual routines on a daily basis, not necessarily roster construction or anything like that, which those guys are not in charge of. But the general feeling is that keep going and hope that this turns around. Obviously, it has not to this point. It is not too late mathematically, but as you've heard me say that about 1 billion times so far this season, every time I say it, it's going to be more and more late. So this is obviously something that needs to be different. They need to play way differently. They need to have way better results, way better than the ones that they're having right now. White Sox the players at least seem to believe the solution is to just keep working the way that they have been all year.
Dylan Cease shoves again, and I know that he probably was like, I shouldn't give up that home run to Javi Baez, but he's got to feel some pressure to go out and throw some zeros out there because the offense just isn't performing. What do you have to say about his performance and then maybe the offensive struggles? I know as a team player, he probably didn't get into that too tough.
Yeah, I mean, he said a lot of the same things that we've been hearing. You look around the locker room and you see the talent, and it's strange. It's shocking that the results have not mirrored that talent. And he says a lot of the same things. Keep working hard. Everybody's working hard. Things are going to have to turn around eventually. It's not too late quite yet. I don't, whether he feels pressure or not to go up and throw up a bunch of zeros, that's what he did tonight. That's what he's been doing on a fairly regular basis for the entire season. He's been great. He was great tonight. Certainly against the Tiger team, he was able to nitpick that he maybe issued a couple too many walks, but he gave up 1 run. You give up 1 run in 6 innings. Your offense is supposed to be able to help you out when you do that. And the White Sox offense was not tonight. It has not been able to do that so many times for all of these starting pitchers this season. It has been a trend through 3 months, and it needs to stop being one if these White Sox are going to do anything but sit here right around 500 for the rest of the year.
There was a great video that the White Sox Twitter account tweeted out of Ethan Katz and Dylan Cease walking around Fishman's Wharf in San Francisco. Started off immediately of somebody calling Dylan Cease's mustache sexy, so I just immediately thought of you, just with all the mustache talk. There's a ton of mustache talk that we're going to get to with you later, because people are asking about it. So many mustaches for you because they don't want to talk about this game. But with Dylan Cease, he just talked about how Ethan helped him so much and how he's helped him grow. Has there been any talk of that in the past couple of games, just because the results have been there? That slider has looked next level. Has Dylan kind of talked about that evolution to getting to this process or getting to this point?
Yeah, and I mean, it's been daily. Since Ethan Katz got here. I think we heard, throughout the offseason how much, throughout the off seasons, the last few off seasons, how much Ethan Katz did work with Carlos Rodon and Dylan Cease, right, 2 off seasons ago, and then was so frustrated to not be able to work with these guys this past season with the lockout going on. And so it really is a daily thing. I mean, even think about Lucas Giolito, who, he was the ace of the staff before Ethan Katz even got here. But it is a daily working with Ethan Katz to make sure that he's getting back on track when he falls off of it, or to make sure he stays the dominant pitcher that he's been in the past. Ethan Katz has a great relationship with Johnny Cueto from when they worked together in San Francisco. This pitching staff is in very good hands, and certainly Dylan Cease is a prime example of that. We heard several springs ago from Yasmani Grandal calling Dylan Cease a guy who could be a future Cy Young candidate, and boom, here it is. I mean, his teammates, the people involved with this organization have always seen it from Dylan Cease. Now that Ethan Katz is here, or he's been here for a couple of years now, they have been able to turn him into that guy, because you can't help but look up today and think that Dylan Cease might make the All-Star team, that Dylan Cease might receive some Cy Young votes. I mean, it's a tough competition. We're not saying he's the best pitcher in baseball quite yet, but I think that's where a lot of these guys think that he's going. And as long as Ethan Katz can still help him to do that, can still be here helping him on a daily basis, there's really no reason to think that that's not possible with what we've seen from Dylan over the last couple seasons, particularly this one.
After the first hit was hit in the 6th inning off of Bo Brisky, Tony decides to do a sacrifice bunt there with Reese McGuire, who had a bat in the 3rd inning that was much better than expected. 9 pitches. He eventually got out. But did Tony speak about the choice to go for a sac bunt in the 6th inning with Reese McGuire instead of hitting away?
He totally did. And he said, to the way that things had been happening, that was the team's first hit, the 2 times through the order, basically nothing doing for the White Sox offensively. You got 2 guys coming up in Anderson and Pollock, who he had a ton of faith in to get a runner home from second base. Certainly TA has the numbers to back that up. And Pollock's got his own track record if you go back however many years. So, he was perfectly fine with that decision, and I'll be honest, I'm totally fine with that decision. I know everybody hates bunting so much, but that was your 9th place hitter in a game where you weren't doing anything offensively, and you only needed 1 run to tie the game up. I know everybody hates bunting and is not going to ever move off bunting regardless of whatever, but if you're ever going to bunt, in my opinion, that's probably a situation in which you would do it. Tim Anderson has had a very hard luck homestand, but you got to have faith that TA is going to hit a single to drive in a runner from second basically every time he's at the plate.
But that's half of my point, because he's playing for 1 run instead of playing for multiple runs there. Reese McGuire has been hitting the ball pretty hard this last couple months. You can probably try to get a hit there. If you get into a double play, it's never mind. It's just I just think you cost yourself more runs by trying to go for 1 run.
That's fine, sure, maybe, but you're playing catch up at that point. You know what I mean? I think everybody looks at it so much in a vacuum. And again, I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. Do whatever you want to do. I have no problem with that, just because you're saying I'm going to use my guy who's hitting 230 to get the guy to second base, and then I'm going to use my guy who's hitting 310 to try and bring him in. It doesn't strike me as an outlandish thing. I know everybody's got their in a vacuum stats going on there. Sean, I saw you tweet out the whole chart over after that happened, and I wonder, does that chart include a guy who's hitting 230 or a guy who's the 9th place hitter? I mean, it's fine. Here's what I'll always bring it back to. If we're going to spend multiple minutes talking about whether or not they should have bunted 1 time in a game, you know what they should have done? They should have gotten more hits throughout the rest of the game. That's
Absolutely.
What they should have done.
Hey, I wasn't even the one to bring it up. I wasn't even trying to get into it, because I know Tony is Tony. Tony's been doing this for a very, very, very long time, and I know that he has his thoughts and opinions on how to run a baseball team. I mean, that's just his opinion disagrees with mine. That's all. And I just think too, like you bring up the point, the run expectancy doesn't factor in how good of a hitter Reese McGuire is, but also Reese McGuire saw 9 pitches in his first at bat. He had a 3-2 count. He could have possibly drawn a walk. It's not like. Yeah, that's true. I know, but AJ Pollock too, the guy that if you're getting 1 out and Tim Anderson knocks Josh Harrison over to third or whatever, and TA gets on. I mean, that's a 233 hitter in McGuire to a 239 hitter in Pollock. It's not like you have. I would rather have the outs and give the guys chances. That's just not me, but it's definitely not the biggest story here. Just because again, it's the White Sox not hitting. You got a fantastic outing from Dylan Cease. It's the same thing with Monday, where you get a great 6 innings from Johnny Cueto, and you're not able to back him up. It's the same old song and dance with the White Sox. I just thought the biggest thing with me and the bunting is just like, he defends Joe McEwing by saying, oh, well, we're not scoring runs. We have to be aggressive with our sends. I just think that, you're giving away outs in that scenario. I think that's a stupid excuse, and I think you're giving outs away in this scenario. That's all. One thing, too, another giving away out scenario, Jose Abreu gets picked off second. We've seen this a bit now for the White Sox. And I know people have really been hammering Tony for about accountability, and that word has been big around the White Sox in 2022. Did he have anything to say about Abreu getting picked off there, or just the team's kind of, lack of awareness? Because they're really good when they're trying to steal bases, but they've been picked off a decent amount this year.
Yeah, he wasn't asked about that particular moment. You saw me smile because I think I thought it was kind of funny when Abreu stuck his hand out, was looking for an inning and ending handshake, and then Tucker Barnhart like runs and like tags him really hard and like made a move, and I'm like, dude, he was right there. Just give him
hard ass Tucker Barnhart.
Take the ball in your right hand and just do a nice little handshake with the ball.
Well, he didn't want to TA it. He wanted to make sure that the ball was in the glove. He just wanted to double check.
Very true. He's fundamentally sound. But no, listen. I mean, there's been a lot of outs on the base paths. Did that one cost them the game? No, of course not. Because guess what? They should have hit the ball more. Yeah. I mean, again, here's the thing. I saw a lot of people getting very angry with Abreu doing that, at the end of that, and just kind of standing there and then sticking out the hand comically. You can't have it both ways. You can't say the team has no fun, they look dead out there, and then also get mad when someone has a little fun in a game you're losing on a play that is negative. At the end of the day, it's baseball, guys, and you got to let these guys be themselves. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I get what you're asking about the actual result of the play. A guy who was about halfway up, halfway all the way to second base when a pitch didn't really get that far away. It's Jose Abreu. Maybe a faster guy ends up taking off for second. In that situation, Abreu is not the speediest guy on the team, so maybe that played into it. But yeah, is it a problem? Absolutely, because you've seen so many of these base running mistakes, especially in the last couple of weeks. Is it their biggest problem right now? No, they have to get some hits.
The positive I'll take away from this game, besides Dylan Cease, is that ninth inning, what you talked about. They don't give up. 2-0 versus a really tough closer in Gregory Soto, which they've gotten to him before. Andrew Vaughn hit a home run off of him earlier this year. So it's good to see the team not hang their heads after a demoralizing single by Spencer Torkelson at the top of the ninth. It's good to see them give a little fight. Came up short, but if they could take this like they took the Angels game where they scored 5 runs, they came up a little short, and then play the next game, saying, hey, okay, we came up short, but we're moving in the right direction by that ninth inning. I feel that the White Sox can win these last 3 games with the Tigers because they're the goddamn Tigers. I'm just so frustrated. The Tigers beating us. Vinny.
Well, it's funny. The thing is, think about this. Say Abreu gets a hit, right? Or Eloy gets a hit, and they win. They walk off. They win 3-2, with basically the offense not showing up until the 9th inning. Mm-hmm. What's the headline? Oh, they walked off 2 days in a row. They're back. This is the turning point that everybody has waited for. And yet you still have eight innings worth of baseball and where they didn't do anything offensively. It goes to show you how it goes to really show you everything about this team, doesn't it? It goes to show you how thin those margins are in baseball, right? That everything can really turn on just a little bit. It goes to show you how winnable this division is. That you're just absolutely quiet and not doing anything through 8 innings, and it was 2 runs. That's all you needed in the 9th inning there to win it. It really is everything rolled into one. It's, man, what are they doing? And, they have the capability to do this at the very end and still win. They have the capability to win. They're just not doing it right now. Tonight was a bad night for the offense. They have to do what they did in the 9th inning way earlier than that, because we've seen it a few times this year. You brought up that Angels game. They had 1 run through 8 innings, and then all of a sudden they go nuts in the 9th and just turn it from a blowout into a 1-run loss. But we've seen that a few times this year where it's it's been nothing for most of the game, and then they do a little something at the end there. That's baseball in a way. I'm sure there are a lot of teams where you could go around the league and find that. But listen, the one constant, the one through line here for the White Sox is they need to be better offensively, and they need to do it throughout games, not just once in a 9th inning where you come so close and then it's over and it's like, well, you had X opportunities the whole time. I mean, Tony La Russa got up there and said today about this offense, they hit the ball hard, and that's true, they did, but they hit it at guys, and you got to hit it more, you got to hit it harder, you got to put it where they ain't. It's baseball, and you're not going to win baseball games if you're not scoring runs.
Right, and you gotta lift the ball. I think the White Sox just really couldn't find that nice medium range of lifting the ball and driving the ball, because it's either popping out or grounding into ground outs. And hey, it's tough to create offense when you're going up against Cy Brisky. It's a tough matchup. I don't blame him. I really appreciate you asking Tony pregame about Aaron Bummer. Can you give the people the update?
Yeah, the update, the non-update update. Yeah, he's doing better. There you go. That's the update. No, listen, this is something that I think, really turned into something that the White Sox were not hoping for, obviously, and maybe not even expecting. And this has been a more serious injury than initially imagined for Aaron Bummer. He is not throwing off a mound yet, and until he does, the White Sox are not going to really have a timeline on his return. So, yes, he's working. Yes, he's getting better every day, according to Tony La Russa. But until he hits that milestone, they're not going to know when he's coming back. Certainly, the White Sox could use some help at the back end of that bullpen. You'd have to figure that would be a trade deadline focus for them with how Joe Kelly has not had much success so far this season. Yes, Kendall Graveman's been good. Yes, Liam Hendricks has been great, but, they're missing the guy they thought they were going to have in Garrett Crochet. Now they're missing the guy they thought they were going to have in Aaron Bummer, both of those for health reasons. And Joe Kelly has been far from the guy that they thought they were going to have as well. So you'd have to figure that the White Sox would be looking for that. All contenders do, right? The relief pitching is a popular acquisition for basically every team that's in the running or thinks it's going to be in the running at the trade deadline. I would expect the White Sox to be no different.
Last thing I got for you, Vinny, it's a non-serious question. Is there a rule that the White Sox can't wear their gray uniforms at home? Because they play well on the road. So it's a gimmick. I just need something to change at home. 17 wins, 24 losses. It's just unbelievable how poorly they play at home.
I got to be honest, there might be a rule. That would not surprise me if there was some sort of thing that you can't wear gray at home. That would be very, weird, ridiculous baseball nonsense, in terms of, something that's been around since Teddy Roosevelt was president. But we'll see. Maybe that's not a bad idea. I should bring that up to somebody and see if that's the way to solve this, because a few weeks ago it was that's baseball. Sometimes you win at home, sometimes you don't. And now all of a sudden you are hearing from folks, man, we need to play better at home, man. I think Tim Anderson said today, talking about yesterday's game, good to finally win one at home. That's something that they want to do. They feed off the energy. And hey, I can tell you right now, between last night, the way that game was yesterday, and the way the crowd was reacting, to even tonight in the ninth inning, the crowd was up. They were playing Thunderstruck, and they were trying to squeeze like every little millisecond they could in between pitches out of Thunderstruck to get people amped. And certainly the energy was there. The White Sox like what happens when they play at home. They just don't like the results of the games they've played at home.
I'm glad you brought up a Thunderstruck, though, because someone was asking, what's your favorite AC/DC song? So,
well, it's no offense, but it is. Thunderstruck is nowhere near the top of the list. If we're gonna go, the main ones that you've heard before. I'm a big Highway to Hell guy. I love that. That's their best album in my opinion. I've got that one is probably my favorite greatest hit, if you will. But I love the album Powerage, which has a lot of nice deep tracks on it. Up to My Neck in You is a good one right there. I really like that one.
And then the other question was Dylan Cease or Andrew Chafin, who has the best mustache?
It's a good question. Andrew Chafin certainly has had one for longer, and he's got kind of a whole hair thing going on, right? Like, his hair and his mustache kind of go together. I don't know if he cut the hair, if the mustache would be there, because it's kind of a total package, right? So maybe a little bit of an asterisk next to his name in that category. Dylan Cease has been able to do a very good job with the mustache with just a quote unquote normal haircut. Doesn't need the gimmick of the extra hair in order to make it work.
All right, final one. Bon Scott, Dave Evans, or Brian Johnson? Best AC/DC vocalist, and then we'll get you out of here.
I mean, it's Bon Scott in a landslide. I know Back in Black is the big AC/DC album that everybody knows and loves, and it is a great one, don't get me wrong. But, guys, Bon Scott and Brian Johnson, in my opinion, we're talking Major Leagues versus AAA there. That's nothing. Yeah.
That's Gavin Sheets versus Andrew Vaughn there for you, from my mouth, not yours. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's the CHGO White Sox beat writer. We appreciate your time, Vinnie.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
You know who that is? It will be David Lee Roth over Sammy Hagar. Are we going to put in
I see.
Gary Sharon?
Who?
Exactly.
Okay. Here's my thing on this. Like, Bon Scott died.
Currently not with us.
And Brian Johnson did a great job replacing him. It's totally different than David Lee Roth versus Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar was a travesty.
My guy, Brendan McCaffrey, says they sound all alike.
I think they do.
The AC/DC song sounded like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, he does a pretty good Bon Scott impersonation. That's why Brian Johnson was in the band, or at least that's what I think, because he does a pretty good Brian Johnson impersonation. Anyways, we got to talk to you about PointsBet. PointsBet pick of the week would have been Dylan Cease to strike out 7 Tigers, because he's just been doing that every time he goes out against the Tigers. Can't give that to you now because that game's already happened. But the best way to take advantage of the CHGO pick of the week is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. That's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. And if you're wondering what to put your money on with that $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet, why not take Jose Abreu to get a hit? Because he's been getting hits in, 11 straight games. I think it's up to 12 now. Yeah. 12 straight games. So I think he's going to continue that. Jose Abreu looks pretty locked in. And I know people didn't love his 9th inning at bat. The guy has a lot of pressure on him, and I have a stat to back that up. But Jose Abreu has been real consistent. I think he's batting .417 in those 12 games. So Jose Abreu to get a hit has been close to a lock, if not a lock. So that's your PointsBet pick of the week. Go to PointsBet, use promo code CHGO when you sign up, after you download the PointsBet app, to get those 2 risk-free bets. And again, if you use code CHGO when you sign up, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker. Again, once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
Our guy Luis De La Rosa has an interesting question. Would missing the playoffs be a good thing?
No.
To me, they're going to go through the motion of thinking they got a guaranteed ticket to October. Missing the playoffs will sting and put a fire in them.
I think that here's the thing. If the White Sox made it to the playoffs and lost in the first round, they would still have a fire in them, or they should, because that's exactly what Lucas Giolito was saying after they lost to the Houston Astros. That was the expectation for them to take another step. If they don't take another step, whether that be losing in the first round of the playoffs again or not making the playoffs again, things will change. A fire will happen in this team. Changes will need to happen because you can't have this type of failure. And if they don't, you as the White Sox fan is being let down, taken out behind the bushes. You guys are absolutely getting the hood pulled over you. It would be a travesty to run an organization that way, because this is the expectation for the organization. And if you fail to meet expectations, things need to happen. It's called accountability. And we feel as White Sox fans and White Sox media members and observers that this team hasn't taken enough accountability in the media and for their mistakes. We haven't heard enough about the triple play, the first ever triple play, 8-5 triple play in baseball history. The constant pickoffs at first base, we haven't heard accountability for that. The consistent nauseating approach versus right-handed hitters, we haven't heard any accountability from that. And you haven't really heard any accountability from the manager. And, the accountability is usually shown by what's the end of the year result and how did you meet up to your yearly expectations. The White Sox are going to miss their expectations for the year, win-wise, and if they don't make the playoffs and advance to the second round or later, they'll be missing their true expectation for the year. That's a failure, and people should be fired. It should be Rick Hahn. It should be Tony La Russa. It should be Joe McEwing. It should be Darryl Boston. It should be Frank Menachino. The only person that should stay on this coaching staff or even in those upper management spots is Ethan Katz. That's the only guy doing his job currently, in my mind.
Yeah, and I would love for them to miss the playoffs if it meant, like Sean says, accountability, and it meant house cleaning. Everybody gone. Every single person gone, and Jerry Reinsdorf sells the team. That won't happen.
Yeah, that's not happening.
So, I'm rooting as a White Sox fan for them to make the playoffs, 100%. But not making the playoffs in a year where almost half the teams make the playoffs, no. Somebody has to get fired. Not little guys like Darryl Boston and Joe McEwing, even though they've deserved their firing. Rick Hahn, Tony La Russa, like Sean said. Kenny Williams can go, too. Thank you for the championship, my man. I wear the hat all the time. This ain't it. 2005, awesome. But you're part of the front office that is failing currently. And if this team doesn't win now, it will fail for the year. So somebody has to roll. Some heads have to roll. And if that means Tony's just resigning, if that means that Rick is resigning, somebody has to go, because you as a White Sox fan don't deserve that. You need accountability. You need somebody to say, this is not our standard. And since it's not our standard, these people who said it, that this team would be going far, lied to us and have to go to the unemployment line. Go somewhere else. Sorry, it's a tough game. That's what other teams do. But that's what real teams do.
Come on. I mean, Rick Hahn's been in this organization for 20 years, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but Rick Hahn didn't work in a previous, I'm pretty sure, didn't work in a previous MLB organization.
No,
right?
he did not. He worked as an agent.
Yeah, working contracts. So I don't know what Rick Hahn has proven to shown that he can build an MLB caliber championship team. He has not proven anything. And I think Josh Nelson and Jim Margolis had great points on the Sox Machine podcast recently where they said Rick Hahn's plan of rebuilding the White Sox has not been copied by anybody. You don't see anybody hiring White Sox coaches, front office people. That doesn't happen. Nope. Mainly because the White Sox are just hiring their former players. I mean, you see it even down to the Bulls and White Sox training fucking academy. I mean, it's just the same thing of not taking accountability and being too loyal. That's Jerry Reinsdorf's biggest issue. And like they were saying, no one's copying Rick Hahn's plan. They're copying the Astros plan. They're copying the Rays plan. They're copying the Dodgers plan, but not even everyone has the budget of the Dodgers. No one's copying the White Sox because the White Sox way of doing this isn't working, and the White Sox can't fix their problems. The White Sox have had the same problems since 2020. They can't hit right-handed pitching. They have not been able to go up with a better approach in any game, and teams know how to beat them, and they could beat them with, Bob Brisket.
Do you know the last general manager the White Sox hired that didn't have previous experience as a front office man with that team?
I want to say Herm Schneider because that's who.
No, general manager.
Trainer though, right?
Yeah, he's a trainer. He was with them forever. It's a guy named Larry Himes. Larry Himes was in the 80s. After the Hawk Harrelson fiasco, they hired Larry Himes. Him and another guy, I forgot his name right now. Somebody will put it on the board. They drafted Alex Fernandez. They drafted Blackjack McJowell. They drafted Rob Ventura and some guy named Frank Thomas.
Ooh.
He was immediately fired pretty much after that. He traded for Sammy Sosa to the White Sox from Texas, traded away Harold Baines. Maybe one of the reasons why he got fired because Jerry Reinsdorf loves Harold Baines, immediately retired his number. That's the last guy. Ron Schuler's a company guy. Comes in after that. Works until 2000. That playoff series, he resigns. They immediately give the job to Kenny Williams over Dan Evans. Dan Evans leaves. Kenny Williams continues, wins a World Series, then retires himself, pretty much goes upstairs to do nothing. And now it's Rick Hahn's job, who was the assistant general manager. And once Rick Hahn leaves, yes, Al Goldis, thank you. Once Rick Hahn leaves, it's going to be Jeremy Haber's job, who is the assistant general manager now. It's an insular thing. They're minor league.
Chris Getz.
Yeah, they're minor league coordinators. Chris Getz, who never did the job before. Just keep on doing this stuff where we keep on having the same people coming in. The managers, every single manager you know. Well, Tony had the job before. Ricky Renteria was on the staff with Robin Ventura. Robin Ventura was coaxed into this job. Ozzie was a coach. Jerry Reinsdorf had to talk to Kenny Williams to say, hey, give him a shot. That's an insular hire. The last one I think they had an outside guy was Jerry Emanuel. He wasn't great, but still, all of this is because of the White Sox way. It's all one big ass bubble. You don't get fired, and you can get a promotion to the next level, and you're gonna do it the same shitty White Sox way.
I think the current guys in the organization who have like some sort of coaching job that haven't been on the White Sox or played for the White Sox. I think McEwing didn't play for the White Sox. I don't think Menachito played for the White Sox. I don't think Wes Helms played for the White Sox. But I mean, even Nicky fucking Delmonico is getting shot being the single A coach. You
Justin
see Chris Johnson as well. Chris Johnson signed a minor league deal with them. He's now the Triple A coach that everyone wants to promote. I mean, again, it's just another insular hire.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. This is one of the reasons why we don't win. One of the main reasons why we don't win is because the White Sox believe in their system, and they don't talk to anybody else. They just, as you were saying with Jim Margolis and Josh Nelson, they think that this is the way to do it, and everybody in Major Leagues is like, no, we're good. We're really good. That's garbage.
Yeah.
So we're not following that track. They should have done the Cubs thing. Drafted a bunch of people, make sure that they hit, and then once they don't have a spot in their major league roster, they supplement that by going out to free agency. Now, Jason Hayward wasn't great. He won a World Series for him. Same thing with John Lackey. Same thing with John Lester. They should have followed that one. I would have taken 5 out of 6 years in the playoffs. One World Series championship, 3 straight CSs. Yeah, I would have taken that.
It's not bad life. Your question earlier, too, about can they wear road uniforms. This is me looking in the rules and what I could find. All players on a team must wear identical uniforms during a game, so that doesn't rule it out that they can't. And then the league office might require that a team have a single uniform for all games, or requires that a team have a single white home uniform and a single non-white away uniform, but with the elimination of separate American League and National League administrations. This rule is most often seen used in the minor leagues, so I don't think that there is a rule as long as the other team is wearing white or a non-white color that doesn't go with gray. I think that they could possibly wear it at home. I don't think there's a specific rule saying they can't wear their road jerseys at home. So,
and I don't understand why. Like, I understand how, in basketball you would want to do that. In football, you would want to not wear the same similar uniforms. But baseball, it doesn't matter. You're pitching to the other guy. There's no confusion that, am I playing to my own guy? No. So, yeah, wear the gray uniforms. Hell, just as a gimmick, I know it's different. Every night on a homestand, you're in hotels. Hey, if you want to win, do something different. Don't just keep on doing the same thing. Do something different here. Cancel batting practice. Do batting practice like you do on the road. Do something that you're doing, because something's happening on the road where it's winning, where you're winning.
Give the player who hits the most home runs in batting practice $500. I don't care. Let's look at this stuff, because this is just more continuation. Because not only have they had lifelong, or at least ownership long problems with the way Jerry Reinsdorf has run this organization. They've had season long issues and multiple season long issues of hitting right-handed pitching. And here comes what's his name? Bill Braxton. Bill Braxton. Bill Braxton had a phenomenal game for the Tigers. The White Sox put 17 balls in play against Bo Brisky, and they hit 6 sliders for their balls in play. They averaged an exit velocity of 84.8 miles per hour. And here's the White Sox. Again, they only put 1 fastball in play. One fastball in play off of Bill Bixby. And the other ones, all the other balls that they put in play were under or below the belt. The White Sox did not take advantage of lifting the ball, and that's why they had one hit that was defined as a barrel. That was Eloy Jimenez, let me find it. Eloy Jimenez hitting a line out, 107 mile per hour line out at 18 degrees. That's not a home run, but it's a barrel. And Bo Brisky, before coming into this game, I think he allowed 8.9 barrels per plate appearances. The MLB average is around 4. So the White Sox got 1 off that guy, and they put 17 balls in play. And the main reason was just because they can't hit anything that is low in the zone. And I want to go to this. I talked about the heart zone yesterday, and kind of the White Sox taking advantage of that inner square in the strike zone, kind of anything that you define as middle, whether it be middle up, middle in, middle down, right? Just anything kind of in the middle of the plate, anything that would be clearly called a strike. I want to go to the different zones. So the heart zone is 1 through 9 if you're watching on YouTube, but there's also some of the lower spots. So the heart, that square that's within the square is divided into 3 boxes, and the lower boxes are 7, 8, and 9. So we're going to look at the lower middle in pitches, and then we're also going to look at the ones that exactly where Bo Brisky was throwing today, the 17, 18, and 19 zones. So kind of the lower half of the strike zone is where we're looking. The White Sox are 9th in batting average versus those pitches this year at 261. Their on base is 14th in the league at 284. Their isolated power, which is slugging minus batting average, so you see the White Sox have the 9th best batting average. If you subtract their batting average from their slugging percentage, you get the isolated power stat. They're 25th in the league. That's worse than the Royals. Their average launch angle is 5 degrees. That's 22nd in the league. Their average distance is 139 feet. That's 25th, and that's barely out of the infield. And their run value versus pitches just in that zone is negative 3.5. That's 21st in the league. You can just pitch the White Sox low in the zone, and they are just the Kansas City Royals. That is what this team does. And this team, and I see some people think they're entitled or something, and you see the White Sox and A.J. Pollock saying this is unexplainable. It's not unexplainable. This is the same damn issues that you've been having this entire year. And I see people getting upset with Jose Abreu's at bat in the 9th inning, him chasing a slider up and away. But Jose Abreu is the only guy that's hitting on this team. And Jose Abreu is the only one that has actually put a good effort and good approach into facing this and fixing these problems for the White Sox through this entire year. That's why his walk rate is up, and it's why his home run rate is down, because all of those pitches, typically sliders, as you saw from Bo Brisky today, are usually low and away. That's a tough pitch to hit deep. Yep. That's why Luis Robert taking home runs to right center field early on in the season was so great to see, because he has that type of next level power. Jose Abreu, his power is declining a little bit, but he still has great bat speed and he still has a ton of strength to hit the ball hard as hell, and that's why he's been getting hits. That's why he's on a 12-game hit streak right now, because he has the right approach. I want to go to this. Right now, Jose Abreu has 38 RBIs. He's been on the team since 2014. So we're going to go through and go to the game point of each year where he reached 38 RBIs. In 2014, it took him 40 games. In 2015, it took him 55 games. 2016, it took him 64 games. 2017, it took him 65. In 2018, it took him 62. 2019, it took him 45. In 2020, it took him 39. In 2021, it took him 43. And in 2022, it took him 78 games. That is the longest to reach 38 RBIs for Jose Abreu. Part of that is because of the home run issue. He hasn't been hitting the same amount of home runs, but this is also the same team that just can't drive in runs. And part of that is because of their approach, lack of guys getting on, and I think Jose Abreu feels this enormous pressure because he is the guy. He is supposed to be the guy coming through in these moments, and no one else is. I see that they're sacrifice bunting to have Tim Anderson come up. Tim hasn't been that guy.
Nope.
Tim hasn't been driving in runs this year. A.J. Pollock definitely hasn't been that guy. And Luis Robert was your best chance today, and that's why he hit that double, because Luis Robert has been having a really good approach in the past couple of games, and that's what we've been talking about. He saw 19 pitches today, Luis Robert. He fouled off or put 11 balls in play. So he really wasn't overmatched at any point. He had one whiff, and he struck out on that pitch. It was a really nice sinker by Brisky. But outside of that, Luis Robert was patient. He did damage, and he drove in the only run for the White Sox today. So really, you can look at Jose Abreu and Luis Robert having the best plate approaches in the past week for the White Sox. And outside of that, you really can't look at anyone outside of maybe Josh Harrison that's been having a good plate approach.
That's what we say all the time about Jose Abreu, and people bristle at it. RBIs are team dependent. Like, Jose Abreu can only drive himself in by hitting the ball over the fence. That's the only time he can drive himself in. So all the rest of those RBIs, which Sean just read out, that's because people were getting on in front of him, and Jose was getting the job done. Not getting on as much before Jose Abreu. Not at the clip that he is this year. So, yeah, it's tough when you see Jose only 38 RBIs, a guy that is you could clock in every year, 30 home runs, 100 RBI. This year is a different thing. And for the White Sox to go far, they need people to get on before Jose Abreu, because to know that 9th inning at bat is not the norm. That's the exception. Jose, more often than not, will come through for you in a big-time RBI spot, especially with only one out. So, yes, he struck out, and it looked like a bad at bat. For the most part, I give Jose Abreu the longest leash because he's done so much for this team. So if he gets picked off at first base, I don't like it, but I'm not going to kill him because he doesn't do stuff like that often. And him struggling to drive in a run or two in the 9th inning, while it's disappointing and the at-bat wasn't great, I'm going to get on his ass too tough on that one. And yeah, he failed. I understand that sometimes you have that happen. Jose Abreu has earned enough of my benefit of the doubt and my fandom for me to say, okay, it wasn't great, but it was.
Well, why has he earned that?
because he comes through more often than not.
Well, and
he plays every day.
He's accountable. Exactly. And I see someone saying like Jose needs a day off, but that's a part of his accountability.
Yeah.
That's a part of his leadership, is being out there every single damn day. You'll either see him in the lineup or forcing his name into the lineup because that's his leadership. He wants to be out there. I'd rather have that guy. If you're talking about this team lacking effort and lacking intensity, well, you have the most intense player, one of the most intense players on this roster in Jose Abreu. Like, I mean, this is what you need from this team.
And he doesn't need a day off. He's on a 12-game hitting streak.
He
needs a day off after he doesn't get a hit in that game. You saw what Jose did today. He got a hit on a ball that was sinking low. I think it was either a slider or a changeup. He got the hit, the second hit of the game, then immediately got picked off. But no, he's not worn out. Jose Abreu is a warrior. He is a damn warrior. He is hitting the ball well. He's doing a great job currently, especially versus this Tigers team this year. He had a .917 slugging percentage coming into this game.
Well, he's worn out.
So calm down, Tom.
No,
I got you. I got you with all your stuff. Cool. Jose Abreu tells you when he's worn out. That's it. That's all. Jose Abreu has earned whatever he wants. He wants to come back next year, bring him back. He doesn't, bid him adieu.
Over the past 15 games, he's raised his batting average from 259 to 290. He's hit 417 on the past 15 games.
He doesn't need.
He's the only player. I don't even need to look at the stats. He's got an OPS above 1,000 in the past 15 games. I think maybe Luis Robert is the only other guy that might even be over 800.
Sebi Zavala might be close.
Sebi might be close,
but he doesn't
That's
get the
true.
He doesn't get the at bat in the ninth inning because it's Lurie
Legend time. Yeah, because he was going to come through with a home run. Because Leury Garcia has proved that he can hit any type of velocity.
And I know we're over time right now. Wow, we are way over time.
Are we?
I mean, we're past the hour, but the inconsistency of Tony's logic. Remember a couple of days ago, he's talking about Leury, and I saw something, and I agree with him. Like, he had those good at bats, and he was all good, and that's why I let him bet in the ninth inning. He didn't say that same thing about Reese McGuire, where he's bunting the ball in the sixth inning. The logic, the process is not the same. He's going against what he's saying. And Leury did not deserve that at bat over Sebi Zavala. I don't know who is advising Tony, if anybody is, but somebody has to yell, put Sebi in the game. Sebi's a better hitter than Leury Garcia. Please, Jesus, put that man in the game now. If he gets out, he gets out. But it's the right move.
Sebi Zavala in the last 16 games, a 956 OPS.
Sebi damn Zavala, and you got him on the bench. And
he hit 3 homers in a game. Come on, guys.
And the thing is, he has to come in the game anyways. If you tie that game up, he has to come in the game in the 10th inning. So what? And then you lose Leury. So what the hell?
And here's the other thing too. And
these people.
I know we this might seem like we're getting something from Vinnie or something. I have never talked to Vinnie about this, and Vinnie mentioned in that hit that Tony really wasn't asked about why Sebi didn't hit for Leury there. And I see people saying, why are the beat writers in this pool so soft on Tony La Russa? I don't know if they're soft. I just think, what are you expecting to hear from him? Because Tony La Russa is so damn defensive. He's so defensive. It's not him explaining himself. It's him just defending himself and feeling offended anytime. And this is just the vibe I get. This is not what Vinny's saying or any of the beat writers. I'm not talking to any of them right about this. This is just the vibe I'm getting. Why ask a question when you're just going to get a horrible answer from the guy? The guy's not giving thoughtful answers. It's just more, well, because I'm right. Because I wrote the book. You know the book of rules? I wrote it 40 years ago. You're not going to get a thoughtful logic-based answer from Tony La Russa. It's all about his baseball gut, and that baseball gut's been procuring for 40 years at this point, and it's rotten at this point. I don't think he's got a good baseball brain, and I don't think he can explain it to you. Again, go back to the Trey Turner thing. I mean, I wanted him fired at that point because he clearly showed that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He couldn't explain that. We explained it better than he did why he was wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that the beat reporters at this point, what are you going to get from Tony La Russa if you ask about Sebi Zavala? Nothing. You're not going to get anything asking that question.
I just think He has no accountability. He knows he's the kingmaker. He knows no one's going to question him with the White Sox. Rick's not going to say anything to him. Kenny's not going to say a damn word to him. So he can do whatever the hell he wants. And then he could say, you guys never played baseball, and say that shit to the media. And everybody's like, yeah, we never played baseball at the major league level, but did you? I mean, I know you did, but you don't seem like it with the damn moves you're making. As I said, I'm a 43-year-old dude that never played past freshman year, and I know I'm a better manager, field manager than Tony La Russa. 100% I know I'm better than him. I could go moves way in front of him and run circles around him. He's terrible at in-game managing. If I can do that, and you guys who are listening and watching can do that, why has he got the job?
And I see this with, Edward, and it's a fair point. He still needs to be asked. Otherwise, why bother having the interview at all? But I think Tony just doesn't want to have the interview. So Tony's going to be confrontational. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to be weird. He's going to have his Tony quirks, and that's just going to be it. And you're trying to battle through and get the best out of Tony La Russa. And I don't know what it's like to cover Tony La Russa, but if I was covering Tony La Russa, I think I probably would have jumped out of the press box by now.
Oh, yeah.
If I had to cover this game, if I had to go into the locker room and ask Tony another, more questions about a 2-1 loss, another game where you guys aren't walking and aren't hitting, I have to go ask him another question. He's not going to give me an answer. It's not a thoughtful answer. We need to fix the process. Guys need to stop. It's not even about hitting home runs. It's all about the process. Tony's just going to drone on and just try to end it as soon as possible. And maybe you need to start asking better questions, but I don't think you're going to get anything from him. I don't think you're going to get thoughtful answers from Tony La Russa. I've not heard any thoughtful response from Tony La Russa at his time as the manager for the White Sox. I haven't heard it.
Not at all. I've not understood. Sometimes you say things and you're very demonstrative about it, and you're like, this is this, and I don't understand why they're doing this. And then it plays on, and there's okay, now I understand why that happened and why that person was hired. I have not seen one reason why Tony La Russa was hired. There's never been a time he gives the White Sox a strategical advantage over every other team. He does this, and the other manager does that. Tony La Russa is superior. I haven't seen it one time in his year and a half of managing with the White Sox. Not one time. It's really bad. He's done good things, but I never said, okay, I got it. Yes, I was wrong about the Tony La Russa hiring. Winning the division is a gimme last year, a gimme this year. So what is he doing? What does he bring to the table? Yes, and people keep on asking, do you want to fire that? I did that show. What did that show? 3 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. That from there on, yes. Still, if I give Tony kudos, I still think he should be fired. That is 100% for the rest of the year. Even if they win the goddamn division, he should be fired.
I don't even know how we got to this point, but we did. And if you could scroll up right now, Steven, I just got one more final thing, and we'll end it here. But it was from James Owen, and James said maybe TLR would get more negative national press if he is asked those tough questions and stays defensive. Negative press would be a good thing. He's not going to get defensive enough about, the Leary over Sebi pinch hit at this point. And the only thing that is truly going to expose him and get that national press is if he makes a huge mistake like the Trey Turner thing, or making Liam Hendricks be the pinch runner in Cincinnati in 2021. I mean, those are the two moments that you're probably going to get from Tony, and him not knowing the rules like that. That should have been bad enough for me in 2021. Period. It should have been enough. I said right then, you should have fired him. Nothing's going to be negative enough for Jerry Reinsdorf to truly move on from Tony La Russa unless he commits a crime or something like that. Unless it's too much for the team. But if he's just going to be making bad decisions in the dugout, he will be allowed to do that, because there's no accountability for the manager from the owner, and there's no accountability for the manager on the players. And that's why things haven't changed. In my mind, that's why this team's 39-42. In my mind. That's why they're losing 2-1 to Bob Brisket, in my mind. That's it. Just because there's no accountability throughout this entire organization.
Even if he gets another DUI, Steve Sanders, I think he's fine. He doesn't get fired. They knew about the DUI when he got hired.
No, I think
Jerry Reinsdorf knew about it.
If he, this is a weird conversation to have.
He's had two.
I know, but if he got a third one, I think that would be negative enough where I think he would be removed as the manager. I think if he's making mistakes off the field, I think that definitely puts his job in jeopardy. But if he's just continuing to make mistakes on the field and this team's underperforming, I don't think he will be fired during the season. So that's it. I mean, I really don't think that anything is going to happen. And I don't think Tony La Russa, I really don't see a path where Tony La Russa is not the manager in 2022 or being fired in the middle of the season in 2022, no matter what happens, because they're not going to sell. They're not going to have this fire sale at the trade deadline. They're not going to fire their manager, and they're not going to take these drastic steps. They don't have enough to buy and be this next level team and go out and buy 6 players and totally rehaul the roster. They might get 1 or 2 pieces, and that's it. That's all they can afford. This is a roster relying on what they have. That's relying on Tony La Russa, relying on Rick Hahn, relying on those 26 guys that are in the locker room right now, all the players in the minor leagues, right? And then maybe they can turn some of those players into new players and help out the 26-man roster. But maybe it's 1 or 2 guys. But that's really it. And it's disheartening to be at this point, 82 games into the season, but that's where we are. We will have a pregame for you tomorrow at 6:30. It is Lucas Giolito versus Tariq Skubal. We will have
fun. We're going to be here on a Friday night.
We will.
Yay.
We'll be up here. It'll be a fun Friday.
I forgot to tell you. No one on the Discord jumped on my ticket I have for tomorrow's game.
Oh, there you go.
If you want a ticket for Friday night's game, I have one singular ticket. I will not be there. It's in the 111 section. First person who hits me up in my DMs, ActorWall23, gets the ticket.
That's where you follow him. He's the CHGO White Sox community leader. He's Herb Lawrence. Again, at ActorWall23 is where you can follow him. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us in the YouTube live chat. Fred, Clark, Greg, Dave, Jesus, Mr. C, all you guys, our guy Wayne, everyone hanging out for us. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate you podcast listeners as well. We appreciate Vinnie Duber joining us from Guaranteed Rate Field. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's the CHGO White Sox beat writer. But that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. White Sox lose 2-1 to the Tigers and fall to 39-42 on the year. We'll have a 6:30 p.m. pregame show for you on Friday and a postgame to follow Lucas Giolito versus Tariq Skubal. You can follow the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. For Stephen Nicholas, our fantastic producer, we want to thank Fleetwood Mac for their 1979 album, Tusk. We'll see you tomorrow. Go White Sox.